Hello everybody, and thanks for tuning in. For those who are new to my channel, I'm Pouyan Darian. I'm an immigration lawyer and I focus my entire practice on the field of immigration and nationality law. Today I want to discuss something that deviates a little bit from my normal topics, and that is the subject of applying for asylum. Now, what is asylum? Asylum is often referred to as political asylum, although there are many other ways in which one can be protected by asylum. It's a humanitarian ground which somebody can apply for, and it would protect them in the United States. It actually is a pathway to permanent residence in the United States, which can eventually lead to U.S. citizenship. What are some considerations if you are afraid of returning to your home country? First of all, asylum is offered as a protection, but the applicant must be physically inside the United States. You cannot be outside of the US. If you are, it's a different procedure where you're applying for refugee status. So the terms refugees and asylee are often used interchangeably, but there's a main difference. Refugees are outside of the United States applying for protection, usually at a US embassy or consulate, and if they're granted refugee status, they'll be permitted to enter the US. Asylum applicants are physically inside the US. Now, how did they get here? There can be multiple ways that someone who seeks to apply for asylum can apply. They may have entered with a visa. After entry, so long as they apply for asylum within 1 year of their date of entry, they can apply for asylum. The other way is applicants who entered without inspection. They walked through the border or somehow entered without seeing an immigration officer. They didn't present documents. They weren't granted lawful admission into the US, but they're here nonetheless. They're afraid of returning to their home countries and they are applying for asylum. The important thing after entry, regardless of how you entered the US, is that the asylum applicant submit the application for asylum within the first year. This is one of the most important things. If you fail to apply for asylum within 1 year of entering the US, you might not be allowed to apply for asylum. You might be forced to apply for some other form of relief. We refer to it as withholding of removal or relief under the Convention Against Torture. If you are eligible for asylum, but you didn't apply until after the first year, you're most likely not going to be on a pathway to permanent residence, even if your case is granted. Something I discuss oftentimes during consultations with my clients are the particular fears that these clients have, why they can't return to their home countries. Let me start by saying not all fears are the same when it comes to asylum law. In fact, there are 5 specific categories of fears upon which you can seek asylum: race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. So what does that mean? These 5 categories are something you need to show a connection to, and it needs to be included in the fear that you're demonstrating. A clear example would be religious persecution. Let's say you're from Guatemala and you are a part of the minority religion. Let's say you are evangelical in a Catholic majority country and you have been persecuted. You've actually been harmed based on your religious beliefs, your minority religious beliefs, and you flee because you're afraid of continuing to live. There's nowhere in your country where you can safely reside. You enter the US and you apply for asylum within the first year. You have demonstrated that you are afraid of returning because of your religion, one of the 5 asylum categories. That is a recognizable asylum argument. That is winnable. It doesn't mean you're going to automatically win, because there are many other considerations when applying for asylum, but that is an argument that your lawyer would make, that you are afraid of returning based on religious persecution. The last category that I mentioned was membership in a particular social group. That's a complicated one, and that's a category that oftentimes gives lawyers wiggle room to make more creative arguments. Particular social groups have been defined differently over time, and in fact, just last week, we're filming this in June 2021, just last week there were substantial changes to the definition of a particular social group in the US. Let me explain what I mean by that. Before May 2021, so let's say April 2021, if you were afraid of returning to your home country because your family was specifically threatened, you would probably not have a valid asylum claim. By valid, I mean it would probably not prevail if you went in front of a judge. You probably wouldn't win with that argument. But very recently, there were some changes in what constitutes a particular social group. Specifically, the case says that kinship ties, familial ties, membership in a family is membership in a social group. What does that mean? Let's say your family was threatened and you depart your country, you enter the US seeking protection. You can now argue that you are afraid of returning to your home country because of your membership in a social group, membership in your family. Other social groups can be, for example, depends on the country, but in your country, like in Mexico, if you are homosexual and you have been persecuted, you are a cognizable social group and you can seek protection in the US. Particular social group analysis is very case specific, so it's super important that you discuss these with a lawyer. If you are not new to my channel and you've seen my videos, then you know a big motivation behind providing this content is to empower you so that you know what questions to ask when you speak with a lawyer. You know what issues to look out for, just so that you're generally informed. But please take me at my word when I say asylum law is no joke. This isn't something you should even attempt by yourself. Lawyers have difficulty understanding asylum law. It really takes years of exposure to asylum law to have a firm grasp of it. Asylum is often a life or death proposition. If you need to speak with somebody about your personal situation, please call my office and schedule a consultation with me. I'm available to consult, advise, and represent you if you really need someone to help you with this process. So I know this was a little bit of a more serious topic. If you're interested in learning more about asylum, I do hope to do a few more videos specifically on this topic, so be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so that you can be informed when I put out more content. I was trying to be as informational as possible in this video, but remember, every situation is different, so always remember that you can call, text, or even book a consultation online. We can go through the facts of your life and make a decision together on how to proceed.